location is very important, and we could probably feel pretty good about nailing that. This other piece that no one really talks about that's extremely important to real estate are the people. The people living in the building are the answer, and like they are the solution, right? It's if that renter is paying on time, renewing, and telling you when there are small problems you can fix today that would have been big problems later, your asset's going to perform. And we saw that time and time again in our past book of business. And so we said, all right, well, we have a unique opportunity where we can actually have these renters who live with us be incentivized to have this asset perform better.
Welcome to the Justin Landis Show, your real estate podcast about having conversations, building relationships, and creating freedom. And today I am here with the founder of Invest with Roots, Daniel Dorfman. Daniel, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Justin.
Awesome. So I'm so excited for you to share your story because when we first met, you were a real estate agent. You're doing real estate, kind of the same that I was, but you've taken a different path from there. Tell us kind of what changed to make you change directions.
Yeah, we'll do. One quick nod to Justin, who actually took a meeting with me at a coffee shop, I think, probably 15 years ago. So appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd even sold a house when we did that. So I mean, if you remember that.
It has been, I mean, I'm glad that we did, and it's turned into an awesome relationship. Yeah.
But yeah, so, got to cut my teeth in this real estate industry, got to invest, got to do a little bit of everything from property management to investor relationship management after,
Because you're investing yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. So my wife and I started investing ourselves. She got her license. Then I followed suit. And, I think when we started to kind of realize that we needed to take a little bit of a turn was really like leading up into COVID. And we were managing a lot of properties at that point. And I'd really put on the investor hat and really been deep focused on how do I create as much wealth as I can from this asset class? And the reality is it's an amazing asset class. I mean, it is one of the best wealth creation vehicles we have. The problem was that every day I would lay down to go to bed and be like, all right, well, this is impacting me tremendously. Like I'm very excited about it. Like, we're in a good spot because we've been able to do this. And the renters in our buildings are getting further and further away from being able to capture this opportunity.
Because it's not easy to do.
No, it's not.
Tell everybody a little about the hurdles of becoming a real estate owner, being in this asset class if you're not already in it.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you think about it, right, like we always focus on home ownership, and that is a huge obstacle, right? It's massive. But when you go buy your first house, there are programs that can get you in at, 3%, 3.5% and up. If you want to be a real estate investor, meaning you go and get another house, your automatic hurdle is 20%. And so when you think about the moat that creates, right? So it's one thing, first renter to home ownership, really challenging.
Yep.
And then the system, and in my opinion, is kind of broken because it creates this hurdle that's even more than the first one in the 20% down rule for your first investment property. And so you think about who can really put 20% down in general.
And then you have to do things. It's not just having, having it is a hurdle, but there's a lot of other things to do too.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, then you gotta get good at, I hope that underwriting was good. And please, please, please do not let that AC go out because that just wipes the cash flow for that single asset probably for the year. And so I think it looks amazing on the outside looking in. It also is an incredible vehicle for wealth creation. But if you don't do it right, if you don't underwrite it correctly, and if you don't have the means, you're never getting in there. And then I think, we've got this, very unique opportunity in real estate that is not in other assets where you can go like tax deferred pretty much forever. If you do it right? You just sell it and you 1031 it, and those properties never leave those families, really. And I'm not against that. I just am trying to craft ways for more people to be able to participate.
Yeah. So you saw this problem. How did you start to solve it? When did you start to think like, maybe I could do something about this problem? Because it's a big problem. So it's not like, I'm just going to spend like 10 minutes thinking about it and then bam, everybody owns a house.
Yeah.
Like how did you start to tackle this problem?
Luckily, I had a thing called COVID
you had a lot of time.
Shining light. always wake up early and no one was there to talk to me. And so we got a lot of time with the whiteboard, a lot of time with thinking through like, what's going on right now. And if you really like were taking like a breath and learning at that point, you would have seen that Robinhood, crypto, anything in that fractional investing space was just taking off.
Yep.
And then you would also realize that like there weren't any of them that are allowing you to do that in what I would consider a more conservative, like steady Eddie type of asset. And that's where the gap was is, hey, can we make real estate investing as easy as these apps like Robinhood, Acorns, all those have made equity investing? And then because we had time, we got to go deeper and say like, hey, right, like who's this for? And what is this really doing other than giving people $100 to invest? It's like, well, we're kind of reopening that path to the American dream and really giving people that participation, which is what those apps did, right? It's really interesting, the confidence that you get, even if it's just a small investment, by saying I'm invested, right?
Yeah.
Like, no, $100 in real estate in our fund, not going to change your life forever. But walking around with a little bit more confidence, understanding how the asset works, being able to kind of say, like, I own real estate. While renting, I'm building wealth. I'm putting, towards that asset class is pretty cool. So,
man, that is such a cool question. You're like, hey, people can own a part of $100,000 Bitcoin. They don't have to own the whole $100,000 to buy one. Why can't they do it in real estate? What an amazing question to ask. And you just kind of laid out like why that matters there, but how did you start to solve it? So you're like, all right, we want to solve this. What did you do to actually like do that?
Yeah. So we said, all right, there's this problem. Like we want a community where no matter how much you made, no matter where you lived in the United States, you could be and grab a little piece of that American dream.
Yeah.
And so we started there and then we mimicked like, all right, well, this is a structure that we like. We like what this more like Acorns approach of like more, friendly, I guess, from a brand standpoint and a community standpoint. And then we started kind of thinking about it and we got to a point where we're like, all right, how do we do this? Why don't people do this? Right. And so
what was the answer? Why weren't people already doing it?
Because it's really expensive. and I would say I spent almost 6 months as I started really like understanding and wanting to give everybody participation. Because you have to do what's called, you can do a few different ways, but really the way to do it is you have to do like a public offering, like actually go public, which is very challenging
and
expensive. Or you do what we did, which is almost as much money, but it's called a Reg A fund, which allows for non-accredited and accredited people to be involved. And so when we started looking at that, the numbers are crazy. I mean, just to start that process, go all the way through, it's close to $400,000.
Wow.
And then there's continuous upkeep on it. And so where I think a lot of people probably, and I probably should have, I just got more frustrated, I think. But it's like a lot of people, I think, get to that point and they put pencils down.
Yep.
Because if you look at it there and you're just saying, hey, this is a reinvestment product, the margins are very challenging to hit because you have to overcome that hurdle.
Yeah.
And it's really challenging. So we kind of got creative in terms of like what we thought the business model was and, crafted a tech company that we could privately get funding into and an offering that we could offset a little bit with each other. And I think the big thing was like when we started bringing this to our people and like the investors and everything, like a lot of people told us to stop, right? Like it's like, you're like, oh, well, I'll never be able to do that. But I think that's where we got more excited was, we said like that, this is why we're not like giving people this opportunity. That's why everybody doesn't have the opportunity, because it would have been easy to say, hey, we're just going to service that top 10% who are accredited in the country.
Tell people what's the difference between accredited.
Yeah.
Because this was a really big deal and it's a really big part of your story.
It is.
So break that down if someone hasn't heard that term before.
The SEC or, the systems that be classify someone who's accredited as someone who's made over $250,000 for 2 years in a row, or has a net asset value of over $1 million, not including their home. And there's some specialty categories, but that's really about it.
So that's a really high upper percentile of people in the United States.
Yep. That is what passes the don't need this many regulations, don't need this many like disclosure type fold. And to do deals for those folks, pretty affordable.
Yep.
To bring in the rest of the 90% of the country,
which is who you're really trying to bring in.
Exactly. It gets really expensive because they have to do like all the checks and balances. And in one way, I totally understand it because you don't want a ton of like schemes out there that are ripping people off.
For sure.
But on the other hand, I was sitting, driving around with no traffic in Atlanta, and you would still see lines lining up to do scratch off lottery and like all these other pieces where we're promoting people to go spend their money on something that they have very little chance to win. No regulation there. You could literally have zero. There's zero regulation on lottery. And I only say that to say that was the motivator. It's like we're promoting so many things across this country that invite people to, put their money in places that are probably not the best.
Yep.
And to make it so difficult and so expensive for us to be able to offer it was just that it was even more frustrating. And so
you went ahead, pushed through, made Invest with Roots available to everybody, and then tell everybody, give like a clear breakdown of how Invest with Roots works and what's different about this versus another real estate investment.
Yeah. So one of the cool things that happened actually too, because of the cost structure. So when we started realizing how much it was going to cost, we realized like, all right, part of this is going to be a technology play, but part of this has to be that we are better operators than the other people, because if we're not, that's where we can get the margin, right? We can cover this if we're great operators.
Because real estate is only a good investment if it is actually a good investment.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, if it actually does well. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when we started unraveling like our like past deals, what we really understood is like the location is very important, and we could probably feel pretty good about nailing that. This other piece that no one really talks about that's extremely important to real estate are the people. The people living in the building are the answer, and like they are the solution, right? It's if that renter is paying on time, renewing, and telling you when there are small problems you can fix today that would have been big problems later, your asset's going to perform. And we saw that time and time again in our past book of business. And so we said, all right, well, we have a unique opportunity where we can actually have these renters who live with us be incentivized to have this asset perform better. And we can create a program. And we built a program called Live It Like You Own It, where the renters in our buildings have the opportunity to earn rewards that can be invested into the fund just for paying rent on time, just for giving us a little video once a quarter that shows us if there's something going on, and for renewing. And what we learned is very similar to what all these big corporations have learned. Happy renters equal happy returns. And so what made us different and made the program different is our fund is really, well, I'm going to say the only still because I haven't seen any other, but the first and only fund that helps renters who live in the buildings build wealth side by side with all the investors who are in the buildings. And we've just seen the win-win model work, for 5 years now.
Because as the renters do those things, pay on time, take the videos, take care of the property, they are then getting ownership in the fund. So they're actually owning the asset that they're that they're taking care of and living in.
Yep.
When I first heard this, I mean, I don't know if I was like, this is amazing. I mean, this is like because you use the term win-win, it does seem like it is an actual win-win.
It is. That's where I thought I had a lot of fun before of like doing these deals and like working. I've never had more fun than being able to like talk to our renters. We have renters who've been with us for 3 years who started with less than maybe $500 total in savings, and they have $4,000, and like,
would you mind to break down the economics of like, just pick a number of an average renter and like what would it look like for somebody who they lived there for 3 years, and how would the economics of it work?
Yeah, so essentially something's astonishing stat, like our average renters in the United States today have less than $700 in savings.
Wow.
And so that's tough, right? That's a medical bill away from really having some problems. And so with our renters, if you come into Roots, the first thing you'll be asked is if you want to transfer your security deposit, if you want us to hold it in like an escrow account like we normally would, totally up to the person. That happens sometimes. Yep. Or they have this opportunity to go put that, $1,200, whatever it is, into an investment under their name that grows no matter what. Sorry, no guarantees. It has grown.
It is invested.
It is invested no matter what. Yes. And essentially, they can be a part of that journey from day one. And then what we do is every time they pay rent every month, if they pay rent on time, they get a $10 reward. That reward can go right to their investment account if they want to, or they can just store it. And then if on a 90-day cadence, they get this opportunity to kind of take a video, do a challenge for us that would be helpful around the asset. And all of that accumulation of like points and rewards, they have about usually between $650 and $800 in just rewards that they can earn each year. So whether the fund grows or not, they've got a pretty solid return.
Yeah.
And that is all based on this idea that like, all right, as a property owner, I am going to spend that money. And that's how we made it work in the financials. Like, I know I'm going to spend that money. It's either going to be rolling a truck for changing filters, like HVAC filter changing people. That's, $100 easy right there every time they go to your property. And, I don't know if you know this or experience this, but like when people go to your property or service providers, they tend to find other things to work on while they're there. And so, if you're an asset manager, the bill. It's like, oh, okay. Like they know, they go out there. We don't check these like as thoroughly as everybody else, probably if you're a homeowner. And now you're like, hey, it's $1,000, by the way. You had to do this, this, and this. And so it kind of cuts down on all that cost. It just puts it in the hands of the person who's living there. And so, over 3 years, you start day one, you earn all your rewards. You go from like 1,200 to somewhere probably close to $4,000 by the end of that 3-year run. And then our hope is, and we've seen this happen, our hope is that they say, all right, great, now I have enough to go buy a house. That's our mission. We just did a big partnership with Movement Mortgage, who now, if you're a renter or with Roots, or if you're a part of the organization, you can actually get $1,000 closing credit with them.
So you add that $3,000 or $4,000 you've got there, got another $1,000, and you're there on that 3%, 3.5% down.
Yep.
Man, that is awesome. And as you've seen it, it's really grown. It's grown a lot, right?
Yes.
I mean, how many properties do you even know how many properties you have now?
We do. So we've in the last 5 years, we started with 0, and now the REIT itself owns roughly 700, and we've got another close to 600 doors under contract or that will come in.
Yes. And that is partially because this model has really worked. I mean, we talked about how it just worked for the tenants, but it's also really worked for the investors.
Yeah. The investors, all of our investors in the REIT, we have a target of 12 to 15% annual returns. We've been able to hit those every year, which is pretty good in this market.
For sure.
And, I think the cool part about our community is that they are excited about the win-win, right? Everybody loves the return, but everybody is on board with helping people.
If you didn't do good while you're doing business, man, any better than that? That's what it's all about. Yeah. I mean, why not do good and do business at the same time? That's amazing. What is you looking for where you are now? Where do you see the future of Invest with Roots? Where do you want to take it from here?
Yeah. So we've been able to accumulate, we've gone from 0 to 150,000 people on platform in the last 5 years. And I don't know, probably 140,000 of those people came in the last 2 years. We're looking, and by 20,
you're having really exponential growth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're looking, I interrupted you there.
So about a million people by 28 has always been our goal, which would be pretty cool.
Man, that's amazing. So Daniel, as it's grown and you've got all these properties, tell us a real story of an actual person who has gone through the program and what it's done for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have maybe they're a listener, who knows? We have a resident. Yeah, me too. There's a resident named Daryl who's lived with us. They came in, I guess they moved in around 3 years ago. At the time, they were a little bit of a credit risk from like a operator standpoint. We have a tendency to be we take the meeting, I guess is the word, right? Like we don't have like a cutoff for credit and things like that, because at the end of the day, credit's just a score. You really need to understand the person. And so we took a little bit of a risk on Daryl. I think he had a 520 credit score when he came in. We have part of the program we didn't talk about is we have on-time rent reporting reported to credit bureaus so that they get credit when they pay their rent. We also have monitoring services and all these learning education modules that you can take, and like really they're about financial foundations, not about like, quick hits. It's about like, hey, what can I do to really like better myself and be able to take that next step? And so between using the credit monitoring, between using everything else and doing the thing, he basically went from a 520 to a 750 in 2 years. He went from 1,700 in his bank account to a little over $5,500, and he is now shopping for a house. So it's just insanely rewarding to watch like it happen for. I mean, if it only happened once, we would be ecstatic. But hopefully we can make it happen.
Oh man, I know you are, and I appreciate you bringing that up. I didn't ask you about that because it's not just the investment in the fund that you're investing into the tenants. It's financial education, like you mentioned, which is super robust. The credit reporting, helping them get it up. So it's a bigger program than it's still, which is a lot, but it's a whole comprehensive program.
Yeah, and I think one important note is we've got today, out of all our investor base, we only have a few of them that live with us. They have programs available for anybody across the country can take advantage of all the knowledge-based stuff, all of the rent reporting mechanisms, all their monitoring.
Yep.
And so it's a really good place to go wherever you're renting, right? If you're renting anywhere and not in a Roots house, it's a great place because you can start programming for yourself and start to build wealth while you rent.
Man, so tell us, we've got a lot of real estate agents who listen to this. Tell us how real estate agents can interact with Invest with Roots. I'm sure they're hearing this and like, wow, this is awesome. What can I do? How can I personally be involved, or my clients can be involved? And tell us how real estate agents would best work with you.
So we would love any real estate agents listening who want to get involved or chat with us. Can go to investwithroots.com/partners.
Okay.
And I think there's 3 interesting places. One, we're always buying properties. So if you've got properties for sale and you want to understand our buy box and things like that, we'd love to work with you. 2, we have affiliate like partner structures and ways that you can introduce this programming to clients or to people on your nurture funnel. It's a really unique platform because you can basically introduce them to a platform that helps them become a better buyer.
Yep.
Better buyers equal more commissions at the end of the day, usually, right? And I think it's a really unique tool to present and say, hey, look, like you're not quite there yet. Maybe you're looking to buy in 2 years. It's a great nurturing area that you get credit for, and they maybe have a better credit score, better, a little bit more wealth.
They have Daryl's story.
Yeah, they have Daryl's story at the end, right? And so I think that's a really fun one. We've gotten excited about it because like Justin, like you said, I was an agent, and every tool I have as an agent is usually just a nurture email. It's usually just, here's my map, here's your search. I never really had a tool to say, hey, this one's free for 6 months or whatever. Try this and you might be a better buyer.
It's a whole new level of value that they're providing, for sure.
So that's kind of cool. And then for those that are in the nonprofit space, we do have a nonprofit foundation called freerent.org. That's a pretty exciting mission as well. So
tell everybody about that. It is exciting.
Yeah. So what we do is we help folks get back on their feet that have hit speed bumps, not car crashes, is I guess the best word. And we work with people on helping them fund their need for rent relief or medical, whatever it might be. And we work on a month, 3 months, or a year. And it's really about helping people get a little space to breathe when they've had smaller incidents.
Yeah.
There's a ton of organizations that do amazing work after you're homeless or after you've had big, really bad incidents. We're more about helping people that are in that middle, that usually have struggled to find help, right?
Yeah, you're further upstream. It's more preventative.
Yeah.
So, man, that's awesome. You didn't mention one other way real estate agents involved. They can invest because everyone can invest, right?
Yes, everybody can invest. We'd love to have you as an investor as well. Yeah, great. I see. I need you around all the time.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm always selling something. Yeah, but from someone who has been a longtime investor in Invest with Roots, to see the performance each quarter, to see the returns. I think from a real estate agent, if you're not already in this investment space, it's a great way for a real estate agent to learn and see as well, because you share the property properties that you bought, the returns you're getting, all that sort of stuff, the appreciation. And so I do think that, that's something we want to make sure agents know, that it's open to them just like everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Would love to have everybody listen, join us. It's a minimum $100 and you can kind of get started and learn what Investment Roots is. So.
Yeah. Man, Daniel, you are changing the way that real estate in this asset class is working in the United States. And it is like just so exciting to hear you tell this story and to see, I mean, the exponential growth you've had. It is not by accident, right? I mean, you don't have the 1,400 or the 1,500 people. Or is it 14,000 or 15,000?
So we've got
150,000.
Yeah, 150.
You don't have 140 of the 150,000 people come in the last 2 years just by accident if something's not working. I mean, obviously, there's been a huge need and demand for this, and you're well on your way to 1 million, and I'm excited to see you do it.
Yeah, we're excited. I think, it's not just me. It's a bunch of people working. Just me only got to that very small chunk. The rest of the team brought all these other people, so super excited.
Yeah, real estate is a people business no matter what. I mean, we talked about that, when we very first got here today. But yeah, you are helping a lot of people, and I really appreciate you sharing your story today.
You too, man. Thanks for taking that meeting 15 years ago and having me on the show.
Glad that I did. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening today. And if you want to learn more, you can go to investwithroots.com and make sure you hit the like and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. We'll see you again next week.